Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, this afternoon, Ghana's largest labor union, the Trades Union Congress, is sounding the alarm over a looming water crisis if government fails to act decisively against the Galamsey menace. The warning follows a fact-finding mission by the TUC to access the state of water treatment plants in Amoakoh, Brim and Achim areas in the central and eastern region. We'll head live to the central region shortly to hear from the TUC Secretary General. But first, residents of Enum Apapam are calling on government to urgently halt illegal mining along the River Yensu, saying operations in that community have actually been going so bad for the past recent months and have polluted the river. There's more in this report.
Nearby. Ya buy yante ho hwe kusis na isu nyina epolotie eti se mo pedi a mo be hu se nukware ne kade a kire mo san cross mountains yi mo fro mountains yi ko obo ho ansana mo be hu se ne ka no nukware river yi so ni tida forest num omatu ho omodasutu Omudasutu Missy. Omudano, Equato baby for Omadano, as I got to be on that pan and Nemun dear, and you on a W. Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling penny for room. Or that in penny for dear. Say, Crudian penny for. Oh, say, my baby, I beckon to see a Mobecca say, mobile boy bed. Ebedu bebini yehu mwe bi ebeba se mbetimi de munesi from na se ba na ebe hu bebia adwuma ebetimi a kire bebia adwuma ne fi ba de a yeso wo kuromu anam no ye okoko untimi sanso no se de untimi sanso no kran fa mbokoko no so aduro yeso ye kokoko sai untimi sanso no ensi nyoma untimi ya no hwe yeah kuroma fo kan ahwo nso kan.
Community just lamenting about the state of their water sources and how it's quite difficult to use it for their basic activities in that community. Meanwhile, the DC of Ayenswano, Joshua Latte, has also appealed to stakeholders and central government for support to flush out illegal miners from the River Yensu.
This one, I thank you for your comment. Today, what has happened needs to continue in the sense that people are mining at the water bodies and even at the forest, which we need to stop them. We need support from the government as well as NGOs and other trade unions to come and support us, because the fight cannot be ours alone. The source of the water is what feeds those at the downstairs. So if we destroy the water at the source, I don't think those at the downstairs will also enjoy it very much. So it's something that we all need to fight. And as I used to checkmate a couple of months ago and decided to meet all the miners so that we can cancel them from what they are doing. But they didn't come. So we decided to move to the fort ourselves and also advise them to prevent from what they are doing. In other words, we as an assembly are taking measures to go to their sites, advise them, and then audit what the work they are doing, which I think it will reduce the idea of giving the water or making the water brown, but rather change it to blue. Thank you.
Next, we can now hear from the Secretary General of TUC, Joshua Ansah, who paints a grim picture of the worsening water situation in the central region. He insists President Mahama must, as a matter of urgency, declare a state of emergency to halt the operations of illegal mining, or the union will be forced to take drastic actions.
This Executive Committee and Head of Department of TUC made the journey to Amoakoh, and now we are in Kibi waterheads. Our objective is to ascertain for ourselves the damage that has been caused and continue to cause by illegal mining activities. We have seen the damage. We can confidently describe the situation as a heinous crime being perpetrated on Ghanaians by the activities of the few greedy criminals. It is clear to us that if Galamsey is not stopped, Ghana Water will not have any water to treat for us in the next few years. Galamsey is a threat to our collective survival. The state and our government can no longer stand aloof, failing to act, and is shirking government's sacred responsibility to protect Ghanaians and the future of their country. And acting half-heartedly is equally unacceptable. The TUC demands decisive responses and action from government on Galamsey. Enough of their engagements. Galamseyers are engaged in criminal activities. Government is the only legitimate authority to stop and prevent crime. The coercive instruments of states are under the control of government. You should stop collectivism, the responsibility to stop what is an obviously crime enterprise. Civil society groups can only highlight the dangers of Galamsey and do general advocacy, but they cannot stop Galamsey. The chiefs can only assist, but our land tenure system has decentralized and the ownership of an extent where centralized control by any single chief is almost impossible. Say it's government fight. All of us will and must help, but the government cannot outsource the fight. In the few weeks, the TUC will outline measures to support the fight against Galamsey. At the core of these measures will be to exert maximum pressure on government and its agencies to act decisively on Galamsey. Comrades, this ends our statement. Government must act decisively and must act now. Galamsey must stop. Enough the meetings, enough the advocacy, enough the talking. We need action now. Action! To stop Galamsey. The structures of TUC will meet after this very important tour and take and make a very decisive decision on the way forward with the government. Thank you very much.
Well, let's take you live now to the grounds and speak to my colleague Kofi AJ. He's with our sister station, Adum TV. He's on the ground as we speak. Kofi, which areas have they visited so far?
Yeah, in the morning we started our journey from Agula in the Agula district, in the central region. So there they visited the Penafi Kitchen Plant where Galamseyers have polluted River Ayensu, and then moved from Amoakoh to Apapem, where the source of River Ayensu starts from Apapem. So we visited some of the Galamsey sites. When we went there, we saw some of them still mining inside River Ayensu. So we met the DC for Ayensu, and he came there, and he also made mention of stakeholders, media, and all the central government to help him, because I think he's lacking an adequate men to fight against these criminals. Because according to information gathered from the community, indicates that these people are fully armed and polluting River Ayensu. They are mining inside the River Ayensu at a community called Amoakoh. Amoakoh is a community near Amoakoh. That is where these Galamseyers are stationed and mining with weapons. So, looking at the situation, the DC himself is even afraid to go to that area. So, what he is saying that he needs more men and more pressure from the central government so that they can eliminate those people from that area. Then, from Amoakoh, then we are currently at Chebi, former president's hometown, where he visited River Bill, Chebi Kitchen Plant. But according to engineer for Akanya, who is the Eastern Regional Chief Manager of Ghana Water Company, said that we have shut down their treatment plant for the past 2 months because the Galamseyers have polluted the water. It's even muddy, so they can't even treat it again. So for the past 2 months, they have closed down their treatment plant. As I'm speaking, the residents around Chebi and its environment are not having access to water. So that is We are just here at Tebi, in front of the Citizen Fund.
And what is next on the agenda?
According to TUC, just from here, they will advise themselves. They are going, when they come back to Accra, they are going to have an engagement with all the executives and take a decisive decision and mount pressure on the central government so that the government can stop guarantees now because they are tired of the engagement, they are tired of the talking and so forth.
Thank you so much, Kofi, for bringing us that update. Well, let me bring in now the Deputy General Secretary of TUC, Dr. Amoakoh. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse. You've been on the ground, really, just assessing the situation and the impact. You want government to step up the fight against illegal mining. What exactly do you want this administration to do that they are falling short of?
So, as the Secretary General indicated, we are tired of the talking, the meetings, and the engagement. We need to see real boots on the ground. That as we engage and as we meet and as we talk in Accra, the rivers are being destroyed, they are being decimated, the forests are being destroyed. We need to see real action on the ground. Because, for how many years we've been talking, but the mandate is getting to a crisis proportion every day. So we don't think that government, both current and previous government, have done enough to stop Galamsey. And we think that this is the time to act and to stop the talking.
You are still pushing for a declaration of a state of emergency, but the president, after meeting with CSOs, told us that he hasn't received advice from national security to declare a state of emergency. Your thoughts?
We haven't stated that we want a state of emergency.
Okay.
What the Secretary General read out is that in the coming weeks, the TUC will outline measures we intend to implement to get government to act on Galamsey. But of course, the Secretary General was also...
Mr. Amoakoh, can you hear me? I seem to have lost connection
because
to you.
In our view... Come again.
I can hear you loud and clear now. Please make the point.
Okay. So the point I'm making is that we did not categorically state that government should implement a state of emergency. What we indicated in the press statement was that in the coming weeks, the TUC will outline measures we intend to implement to ensure that government stop the Galamsey. And the Secretary General was quick to ask that at the core of these measures will be to apply maximum pressure on government to act decisively on Galamsey. And our view is that, yes, all of us can help, we can assist, and we will assist. But government cannot outsource the fight of Galamsey, against Galamsey, to anybody else, neither to the trade unions or to the chiefs or to even the civil society organizations. The coercive powers of state lies with government. And as long as we see Galamsey as illegal criminal activity, it is in the bosom of government to stop crime and prevent crime. So we will assist, but the pressure must be on government to act.
And what kind of decisive action are you looking forward to seeing?
We will communicate that in the next few weeks. But decisive action, that leads to a situation where if you visit Num Apepemu, we will not see excavators on the river. Today, of all the talk we have heard about excavators, we were surprised to see excavators sitting on the river Ayensu, very close by the roadside. And all the security agencies at the beck and call of government are in this country. And we keep talking in Accra about excavators, but the excavators are in the bush.
And that is shocking, really, because the government tells us that they deploy the Blue Water Guard to serve as spies, and they've also declared water bodies and forest reserve security zones. Are you saying, based on your analysis on the ground, they are failing to do their job?
This is the talk in Accra. But when we got on the ground, we didn't see Blue Water Guards. We didn't see them. When we got on the ground, we didn't see the security men. In fact, we were warned not to go to the other village after Num Apepemu because we will not be safe going there. Where are the security people? And it's exactly the point we are making. Enough for the talking in Accra. We need to see real action where illegal mining activities are destroying our river bodies and our forests.
And have you officially communicated to government some of these concerns?
We haven't. So for a start, as part of this engagement, and remember about a year ago, we aborted an indefinite strike we wanted to do. Since then, we have been a bit quiet on Galamsey. But we've been observing, we've been analyzing, and we've been reflecting. So we decided that for this time around, we'll do it differently. And that is the reason why we embarked on this journey to the 3 water treatment plants. So we haven't done any communication with government, except to say that probably the visit itself is enough communication.
And then it's interesting you make mention of that strike that you chickened out of last year. How should we trust you this time, really, knowing fully well that the last time you served notice that you are going to withdraw your services nationwide, and then you failed to do so?
Okay, that threat was by organized labor. This endeavor is by the TUC, and I'm sure you recognize the difference. So TUC for now decided to go solo on this, and we are very confident that we'll go far with this engagement, with this endeavor.
And how soon will you be communicating your concerns to government? Will you submit an official petition?
In the next few weeks, the structures of the TUC will meet exclusively on Galamsey.
And when would this meeting be? Can you give us a specific time?
We hope to meet as early as next week.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Amoakoh. He is Deputy General Secretary for TUC. But stay with me. Let me just bring in Kwesi Shandoff. He speaks for NIMOS as well as the Lands Commission. He's joined the conversation now just to get an official response. Shandoff, we've just been hearing from TUC. They've done some groundwork, visiting some treatment plants in the central and western region. They tell us the situation is dire. How can we trust that government is indeed on top of this issue? Well, Shandoff, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly. But whilst we work the lines to get clear connection to you, we know that still on Galamsey, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat has arrested some 28 illegal miners in the Cape Coast 3 Points Forest Reserve and seized several items. My colleague James Aveji has more on that development.
We are getting from NIMOS indicates that the team stormed the forest reserve yesterday, Thursday, October 9, and upon seeing the officers, some of the Galamseyers absconded, but they've been able to arrest 28 of them who are being currently kept at the Nkwanta police custody, where the police will be preparing to put them before court. As part of the operation, they also seized some items, including one excavator, which has been demobilized on the site. They seized some mobile phones, including 3 bottles of mercury, as well as other Galamsey, implements, including shovels, pickaxe, amongst others. The team says that they are warning all Galamseyers who are currently in the forest reserves to stay off, and that all of the Galamseyers who will be arrested will be dealt with in accordance with the law.
My colleague James Aveji there with updates on that. Well, we're still working the lines to speak to Shandoff. Once we get him, we'll have that conversation here on The Pulse. We're taking a quick breather. When we return, we'll tell you about the New Patriotic Party's presidential hopeful and the key concerns they've been raising. Now, today, officially, the party conducted its balloting. We'll give you all that update after this quick turn. Well, thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, we shift our attention to politics. Supporters of the 5 key presidential hopefuls for the NPP are brimming with excitement after the balloting exercise that determine their positions on the ballot ahead of that crucial January 31st, 2026 primaries. Well, many within the various camps believe their candidates' positions signal good fortune and a clear path to victory. The ballot conducted by the party's Presidential Election Committee in collaboration with the Electoral Commission placed Kennedy Agyapong in the first position, followed by Dr. Brian Achampong. And following closely is the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as well as Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, the former Education Minister, and then Kwabena Agyapong. Well, the following report has more. We'll be back in the studio to have a discussion on that. Please stay with us.
Well, the 2026 presidential primaries of the opposition New Patriotic Party is inching ever closer. And this time, the party has conducted the balloting. Kennedy Agyapong, former Asin Central MP, is the first person. The second person is Brian Achampong, former Agric Minister. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the former Vice President, was at number 3. The fourth person is former Education Minister Yao Osei-Duchum, and the fifth person is Kwabena Agyapong, former General Secretary of the party. The camps of these candidates shared their opinions with us after the balloting.
Final balloting can pick number 1. In terms of the PR, in terms of the marketing, in terms of even visibility on the ballot, we feel that it gives us another advantage. And from day one, we have always maintained that our campaign is divine. And so, I mean, for it to be one, we believe that it's even more closer to God. So we are very hopeful that 31st we are going to win. We are going to sell the number. We are going to campaign. We are going to talk to the delegates. We believe that sovereignty resides in them. Over 200,000 delegates. We are going to tell them the message, the current state of the party, and the need that I have always maintained and Ken has always maintained, that even in the spirit of revival, we need a new face. And that face, even from the balloting, clearly shows that Ken, number 1, should lead the party. Kennedy is bringing, I give you 3 things. 1 is jobs, 2 is jobs, 3 is jobs. That's the most important thing. There's not been any contradiction. Initially, I told you that we were not so much expectant. We are also not fixated with any number. But I'm saying that even after the balloting, number 1 gives us another advantage in terms of marketing, in terms of PR, in terms of visibility on the ballot. And those ones are things that I'm sure we have the right to state them clearly. I'm sure you even agree with me on that one, those ones.
He is born on the 4th day of the week, which is Thursday. And I strongly believe you all know Jesus Christ was born on Thursday. And the significance of the 4 on the ballot tells the unity that the party is looking for. And if you are part of those who do believe in numbers, it gives you a clearer understanding why the significant 4 is of vital importance to this whole process. We are looking for somebody who can unite the front. And those within the realm of understanding numbers will tell you that anybody who holds that number 4 tells you the pillar that all the other candidates or other people will want to revolve around. And that is why the significant 4 is of vital importance to the camp of Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum.
Were you okay with the process?
Yeah, we as I indicated in the morning, the horse is prepared for battle and safety is of the Lord. And the Lord has been guiding our steps throughout and our interaction with the general public, the party at large, etc. And you all attest to the gentlemanliness of Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum. We follow the process through, and we do believe in the process that the party established that has taken us this far today. We are satisfied with what the EC led the party to do, and significantly, we got that significant 4 that we are looking for. The unity that the party is looking for is embedded in Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum.
I told you that the positions don't matter. That if people want to vote for you, wherever you are, they will look for you. For me, for marketing purposes, the first one and the last one, because of Aseho and Esroho. But otherwise, I told you that any position that you are, people who want to vote for you will look for you.
We're also emphatic that will make it easier if you're down or top.
Why not? Why not? Of course, Esroho, Aseho, but really, it doesn't matter. People will look for you wherever you are, if they want to vote for you. Yeah.
You're confident that your candidate...
The last time people were at number 1.
Who were those people?
Who was at number 1 in 2023? Now what happened to them? So really, but for marketing purposes, it's easier to say Aseho and Esroho. Yeah, but otherwise, anybody who wants to vote for you, they will look for where you are. Where was John Mahama in the last election?
That of the NPP. Coming to power in 2001 under President Kufuor, it was Aseo that brought us to power. So when you are now Aseo, you are selling Kwabre Japan as Aseo. That will be very easy.
Having participated in a ballot, should we take it that you don't have any problems with the party with respect to the development fee?
We don't have any problem with the party. If we had any problem, they would have prevented us from partaking in the process. So once we are here like any other person, I'm not sure you are directing this question to any other candidate.
No, why? But because we heard that he had not paid.
Oh, they are only rumors. They are only rumors.
But have you paid?
We have satisfied all the conditions. That is why we have participated in the final process leading to the printing of the ballot paper, which will be used on the 31st.
Japan paid the 4 million development fee?
I think I'll direct you to the finance office. They will tell you. Because after all, you are thriving on rumors. You have told us that rumors. So go there and verify.
I mean, sources close to the party
go to the
you had not paid, and so that's why I'm.
So we are in the party headquarters. We are right in front of the headquarters. Go there and find out.
We are with the campaign.
You are told, and the 48 hours have passed. No, so. It passed yesterday.
Okay.
So it tells you that.
You are also aware of those rumors because you are saying that.
No, you are saying that we were given 48 hours. And the 48 hours expired yesterday. And today there has been a further process subsequent to the 48 hours, which is the balloting.
All the camps are confident of victory. But who will come out victorious? 31st January 2026 will tell. From the party's headquarters at Asylum Down in Accra, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Well, indeed, the race is heating up. Joining me in the studio for reactions on the various positions on the ballot right now is Yao Pokumenta, his spokesperson for Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum. And I also have with me in the studio Kwesi Kwarteng, spokesperson for Kennedy Japan. And also joining us, I'm told via Zoom, will be Dr. Ikea Amoakoh, right? If my memory serves me right, Amoakoh rather. She's deputy spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia campaign's team, and we appreciate your time. I'll start in the studio, really, with Kwesi Kwarteng. Your candidate is #1 on the ballot. What does that mean for you?
Thank you very much. You see, election is a process. It's never an event. And the process has stages. And all the stages, you need to meet the requirements at every stage. You recall, we started with opening of nomination, then filing, you pick the nomination, you file, a time will also come where you have to do balloting before even the voting itself. Even there is campaigning and that. So this is just part of the process that we have to be part. We are grateful to the party. We wish all the other candidates the best. We congratulate each and every one, including ourselves. Before I went in, I indicated that we are so much fixated on numbers. We are of the strong and firm conviction that Ken's election, and of course, Ken's candidature is more divine than we can imagine. It's about time that God is using Ken to restore a certain order. Recall the days of the Israelites when the Israelites were determined to move in a certain direction, and they intimated to God that they wanted a human king, and God gave them so. And at some point, Israelites fell. The conditions, everything about Israel really went down. And the Israelites went back to God, and God gave them David. So we are taking our inspiration from that story, that yes, Saul has been rejected, a new David is coming in. So everything that happens through this process is in the hands of the Lord, who is introducing the David, and that new David is Honorable Kennedy Japan. So yes, the numbers are good in terms of one being visibility. If you want to look at how easier you are able to identify it on the ballot, it gives us another advantage. In terms of even people who are so no much sure or undecided, sometimes they go and they vote for one. In terms of marketing of the number, also it gives us another advantage. But like I indicated, we as Team Ken are not so much fixated on numbers. We are going to the delegates and sell our good message. And I sat on this platform 2 days ago, and I said that the message of Ken is very simple. aside demonstrating the capacity and the capability to win power for the NPP. His message is simple, and I paraphrase it in 3 key sentences. That is jobs, jobs, jobs. That's all Ken is going to do. So we'll go back to the polling station executives, over 200,000 of them. Sovereignty resides in them. They are the kingmakers. They are going to decide who leads the party. We will not bank all our hopes on numbers. We will not bank all our hopes on prophecies, even though the direction is so clear, the momentum is so strong, the conviction is so firm up that Ken is going to lead the party. We are not banking our hopes there. We'll go to the delegates and appeal to them and sell our message and let them know that we went into an election out of 276 constituencies, 199 of them, we lost them bitterly. 345,000 of people that went to cast their vote, voted for our PCs, voted against our presidential candidate. Out of 9 regions with about 98 seats, we have just 5. NDC has 93 of them. There are 4 regions, as I speak to you, we don't even have a representation. Worst performance in the history of our politics, from 92 till now, 1.6 million votes difference. We are going to sell this message to them. Then we give them a message of hope, the assurance that the personality, the credibility of Kennedy Japan, the marketability. And when I say marketability, we have to separate marketability from visibility. People could be here for 16 years, well visible, visibility in the area of presence, but they may not as well be marketed as Kennedy Japan. Marketability translates into acceptability. Ken is accepted because people and the whole public trust him. So we are going to show his strength and then assure them of the jobs. And we are so much convinced that with the help of God, just like the Bible says that the heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and like the river that runneth, wherever he likes is where he places it. We are so much convinced that 31st, the people are going to vote for Ken.
And let me come to Yao Opoku-Mensah. Your candidate has also found its place on the ballot. What are your thoughts about your positioning and what it means for your party?
Okay, a good afternoon to yourself and to my brother and to our lovely viewers out there. And to the entire party, I extend Dr. Yosedichum's fraternal greetings to them. I indicated that this is a significant fall. You know, Dr. Yosedichum, a Thursday born, and submitting his forms or picking his forms, he did that on Thursday. And it was for a purpose, because we do believe this the time to set the present age and a calling to fulfill, which resonates well with what the Methodist in book 578 talks about. Now, when you put that together, then you ask yourself, what has been the contribution of the man towards our socio-economic development? Now, we've seen him in leadership at the education ministry. We have enough evidence to show us what happens within his constituency. 150 students studying engineering and medicine, of which we believe education should be the anchor of our socio-economic development. And he has re-echoed everywhere he goes that Ghana can engineer ourselves out of poverty when the right structures, when the right thinking and the right personalities are put in charge of the affairs of the country. And that is why his rounds visiting constituencies across the length and breadth of the country, we dub his engagement as the hope message, preaching on prosperity. And therefore, the 4, which represent the 4 corners of the country, is anchored on 4 items, health-wise, to ensure that we have an agenda dubbed as agenda longevity. We need to live long and ensure that we enjoy the fruit of our labor. How then do we do it? That is anchored in part of what he believes can propel and accelerate our development agenda, because we need a healthy country. And again, jobs as well, the creation of jobs, not just the mere mentioning of jobs, but we believe that the right-paying job should go into the hands of Ghanaians, not the expatriates. For example, within the engineering space, talk of road construction, talk of the skyscrapers that are coming all over. You get to understand, you ask yourself, who is the engineer around it, who's coordinating all these? And we're importing expatriates to be fixing this. Why can't we have our own people in charge? How then do we do that? That is why his term of education is of vital importance to the socioeconomic agenda and the transformation thing that we talk about within this country. Then you move on to the almighty education, a solid ground, looking at the Singaporean experience, looking at the Chinese, and looking at the South Korean experience. These are blueprints that we need to look at, study it carefully, and to be able to put it as part of our forward movement. And Dr. Osedichun, since 2021, when he became the education minister, started preparing the minds of Ghanaians, the entire country, that indeed Ghana is capable of managing its own affairs in terms of uplifting ourselves from the economic quagmire that we do find ourselves, where we run to the IMF, etc., and we come into your studio and be debating about exchange rate when it goes up, exporters are happy, coming down, importers are also happy, government is not happy, my revenue is coming down. You ask yourself, what can we do differently to ensure that we do have stability in the whole economic structure? And that is what is anchored on what Dr. Yossi Aduchum believes. That is why we see this calling as a time to set the present age and a calling to fulfill by his maker. So the choice of the four has always been what he believes in, the good Lord directing our steps, telling us what to do at any material moment. And eventually today, the good Lord, as I indicated in the morning, led us to the party and picked 4 for the first, 4 for the second. And that is the consistency element that we believe that the good Lord, in his own thinking, as it is said, the horse is prepared for battle, but safety is of the Lord. So the safety net in which we do find ourselves is within the 4 significant number, 4. And those who do believe in numbers with this spirituality, etc., see 4 as the unity bridge. And therefore, if the party is preaching unity, 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 you ask yourself, who does the unity resides? On whose shoulder is the party placing that unity message on? And that unity message on is anchored and it is placed on the shoulders of Dr. Yossi Aduchum. You can attest to it. Go onto the internet to search whether if with all these process talking about protecting the reputation and integrity of the party has always been the voice of Dr. Yossi Aduchum, telling the good people that indeed at every material moment, NPP do have the right thinking people to be able to give us that development that we desperately need in terms of what we want to seek and build that momentum and confidence in the good people of Ghana. So the delegates in our rounds has indicated to the party that indeed Dr. Yossi Aduchum is the man that others will have to look up to because he preaches that hope and builds that momentum at the grassroots, making them believe that indeed we went into an elections in 2024, we didn't get the outcome that we were requiring or we deserved. But that hope has not lost yet. The light has been seen in Dr. Yossi Aduchum, and that is what delegates in the regions that we visited have strongly indicated to the rank and file of the party that this is the time. Give the flag bearership position to Dr. Yossi Aduchum. Let him lead this party. And Ghanaians are ready and glad to embrace him, push him, and make him president in 2028 so that the NPP can form Ghana. And so through that, we can engineer ourselves out of poverty. We must wage a war against poverty and win it. We cannot be at the baseline on poverty, 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 poverty. No. We need to build that wealth for the good people of Ghana, and that is what this whole campaign rests on.
Okay, I'll come back to you because there's a lot to talk about. We would also be going on Zoom to speak to Dr. Equia. She's deputy spokesperson for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'll come to her briefly for her reaction to the number she has on the ballot. But I know that joining the conversation as well will be Professor H.S. Skank, who is head of journalism faculty at University of Media Arts and Communications. I also have joining via Zoom a PR lecturer at the University of Media Arts and Communications and also Dean of the PR department, Dr. Ike Tando. We'll come to you guys for your reactions to that. But let me start with Equia. What's your thoughts on your candidate's positioning on the ballot? Doc, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
That's fine.
So I was starting by saying good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers this afternoon. For us in the Dr. Bawumia camp, the balloting just represents another stage of the processes we go through as a party to elect a flag bearer. It is something we've been through before in 2023, and again, we are going through that same process as part of what the party goes through to be able to elect their flag bearer come January 31st. For us and throughout our interactions with the delegates, one thing is clear, that the delegates are very confident in the character and the ability of His Excellency Dr. Bawumia to be able to unite the party. We are all aware that he's not a very divisive person and always puts the interest of the party and indeed of the country ahead of himself. And so that's a character trait of his that is very important to the delegates, because it's also very important to them because, we went through a very difficult election in 2024. And as a party, it's very important that we begin to put ourselves together in a way that Ghanaians know the NPP as, so that we can be trusted again to lead the country when 2028 comes around. And to make for the floating voters and indeed the middle class voters that we lost, that decision, a huge factor that goes into that decision is the character. And I think His Excellency demonstrates that very well. So to the delegates, that's very obvious. The second thing is about how prepared he is, about everything that His Excellency has been through so far in the past 16 years, basically has made him the most prepared person to be able to unite the party and deliver victory. And indeed, he has the most clear and concise plan for the development of the country, which in the end will also create jobs. I've heard some of the other people talking about jobs, but it's very clear that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, even in his role as Vice President, carried out several interventions that led to numerous jobs being created. So that capability has already been demonstrated, and it's something that, if you look at the entire vision of His Excellency, it's highly focused on job creation. So that also goes to his preparedness. Then we'll come into how formidable it is. I think it's very clear to almost everybody in this country now just how formidable the character of His Excellency is. Indeed, our opponents in the NDC started to come up with essentially smears against him as far back as 2020. Even if you look at this year of the internal primaries, you see that all the attacks are directed at him, and you can see sometimes they're even struggling to be able to come up with things to muddy his good name. And it all goes to how formidable it is. So as a family, if you can tell from the reaction of everybody on the outside, you can tell that this is who most people see as the most formidable person in your camp. I mean, I think the delegates will also agree that there's no reason why he should not be presented. Then they will look at the last factor, which is what is on everybody's mind, the ability of the candidate to win. And that has been clearly demonstrated. I'm sure my brother Kwesi Kwasi, I was listening to him earlier, and he always likes to make the case of the election defeats that the NPP suffered. Indeed, it was a very sad defeat that affected all of us. But if you look at it critically and in the scheme of the geopolitics of the whole world, I mean, 2024 was a very bad year for almost all incumbent governments, and about 80 to 90% of incumbent governments fell, indeed because of the economic challenges that came in and how the population reacted to that. And so I don't see how that one election failure has now become a yardstick to say that somebody should not be given a second chance. Indeed, we remember in 2016, we're all in this country when His Excellency John Mahama, a certain president, was defeated. But the NDC, our brothers on the other side, saw the value in consistency. And so they repeated His Excellency John Mahama till he also came to have the biggest election victory we've had in the Fourth Republic. So that argument of you've lost one election and so you shouldn't be able to contest again is something that I don't think to most of the delegates holds water. Because even if you want to look at that on that basis, it also would disqualify a lot of candidates, because indeed amongst the party faithful alone, some of the aspirants have contested before, and indeed they didn't make even up to 40% of that. So if we are looking at a past defeat to say that you can't contest again, and that's not an argument that I think we should profess. Indeed, it should be about, and I think that's what it is. That's what the contest is about to a lot of young people in the party. It's about who has a clear vision for the development of Ghana. As we always say, we are not just going to elect a flag bearer for the NPP.
Oh dear, we seem to have lost Dr. Ikuya. Whilst we reconnect the lines to her, you're all professing that God is on your side. I'll start with Kwesi Kwarteng, but it's a game of numbers, really. Out of the over 2,000 delegates, who is on your side?
For that, if you are minded, I'm giving an opportunity to just react quickly to my sister, because at some point she drew me in, so I'm sure it was an invitation for me to react.
Okay.
Remember, she mentioned that even President Mahama lost with 1 million votes and came back. But it took him 8 years. I mean, it was the reason why Ken said, if he's taking President Mahama 8 years to do away with 1 million votes, then how many years will it take Dr. Bawumia to then offset the 1.7 million votes difference, which is about 13.6 over 14 years. I'm not sure the NPP are ready to stay in opposition for 13 or 14 years. You see, the point is that we are not saying Dr. Bawumia is not eligible to contest again. That confusion and that line should be drawn clearly. What we are saying is very straight, that in NPP, per our history, the opportunity of a second chance is not just a reward for showing up. It has always been contingent on performance. And that performance is judged based on the voter share that you are able to add to the party's previous votes. So you look at, for instance, Professor Edubrahin, 30.29, then Kufuor then took it to 39, then Akufo-Addo took it to 45, even with Akufo-Addo, his first round record, he won. We had to go to 10, and then the results then, and Professor Mills won the ultimate election. But then you reference that with Dr. Bawumia. If you look at the graph, it's been up, 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 then he brings it down. If you compare even his votes to the immediate votes of Akufo-Addo, that's about 33% decline. You compare that even among the 8 regions in the south, about 31% decline. Even from the north, where he's coming from, that's about 16% decline. So nobody is saying that he cannot go for this contest. But we are saying that within the current circumstances, in our history, if we are being guided by our history, then he cannot be our best foot forward. And we need to also look at the candidate that the people trust, in terms of the candidates having a certain track record of honesty, somebody that the people believe that when we bring, the people will be able to, it will be very easy for us to market. So we have to look at those ones before we have a conversation about the second chance. And we are making a strong case that if you look at all the circumstances surrounding Dr. Bawumia, and of course, just opposing with Canada, Japan, and the fact that a lot of people are calling that more they can buy a better, more they can buy a better, we believe that we'll be in a safer hand, a safer vote when Ken comes. Now, to your substantive question about whether the delegates are going to, the delegates are going to go for.
How many delegates are on your side?
It will be two. This time, it will be too premature, too early to call. You see, there is no better poll than the poll on the 31st of January 2026. Of course, there has been projections. Musa Dankwa will bring his own. Sanity Africa will bring their own. There is also one that mostly has been favoring Dr. Bawumia. Of course, I mean, there is a whole issue about some of them being sponsored, convenience, and that. But whichever way, we run our own internal polls. And I can confidently tell you that Kennedy Japan is in a comfortable lead. And you see, most importantly, understand even the dynamics and the circumstances and the events happening. Kennedy's even choosing the number one was not just circumstantial. It's just a pure act of God to also indicate and give a strong signal to the people that this is my choosing one. And that is what is going on.
But ultimately, apart from the internal primaries, you're looking at a candidate who is marketable. Marketable.
Yeah.
Do you think that Ken is the NPP's best foot forward?
Yes. Compared to all the other 4 candidates. Of course, I mean, let's be very honest with ourselves and also be quite practical. I mean, this race, for instance, smacks of a 2-horse race. That is Dr. Bawumia and Kennedy Japan.
I'll come to you to respond to that.
Oh, but I mean, that's what I'm saying, that if we are being objective.
Okay.
I'm not saying, in an election, anything can happen. But I'm saying that as of now. But if we are taking these 2 key personalities, you realize that even in the spirit of party revival, we need a change. Because after 16 years of the Bawumia-led leadership, he's done so well. He's done his best. He talked about superior ideas, nice ideas, rich ideas. He spoke about good character. Nobody is disputing that. Even on the character, people have also argued that sometimes you may confuse weakness and with humility. For instance, what is happening at Bawumia who are hitting Ken from January till now. Nobody has been able to call them to order, even though ultimately Bawumia stands to be the beneficiary of it. But the point that we are making is so basic. Our point is simple, that if you compare the two, in terms of the marketability, Dr. Bawumia has been more visible for the time being. But in terms of marketability and visibility together, combined together, Kennedy Japan is more marketable. In the extent that when you talk about marketability, it's about acceptance. The data shows that in terms of acceptance of Dr. Bawumia, the previous election, the people did not accept him. It is a more reason why 2.1 million of our previous voters failed to come and vote. You see, by extension, if they don't even come and vote for the presidential candidate, ultimately the PCs also suffer because the election is run concurrently. They come and vote for the president and they also vote for the PCs. But intriguingly, and most intriguingly, 345,000 plus came, voted for the PCs, and then looked into Dr. Bawumia's face and voted against him. So that should also give you an indication that the people are not ready for him. So in the aspect of marketability, the acceptance is so low. But you look at Kennedy Japan, his track record of creating jobs. If he tells you that he's going to give you a job, a lot of people will believe. If Kennedy Japan tell you that when people misbehave in my government, I'll look into their face and sack them or punish them, people will believe. Because he's demonstrated those traits over the years. And that is why I am of the strong conviction and strong, like many Ghanaians, that Kennedy Japan stands a greater chance, especially if we are to assume and hypothetically assume that it's either Asiedun Ketia or the man that lies jogging, the chief of staff. He has been jogging every weekend. Instead of them to fight Galamsey, they are jogging. Kennedy Japan will have a better chance ahead of all this.
Yeah, Amoakoh, I'd like you to respond to that directly.
Yeah.
Because Kwateng is of the opinion that this is a two-horse race. Your candidate doesn't even come close.
Yeah, that's his thinking, and that is, I think, that is a mistake that they are doing. Now, if you do understand the sociological system of the Ghanaian electorate and the understanding of the general public with regards to conduct of political actors, then you get to appreciate that in 2024, other elements that accounted for why we are in this situation then will humble you to move away from the understanding of what some of these individuals in their own public utterances and engagement with the people has done, which has affected the party negatively. Do you get it? Now, when you put that together, then you begin to ask yourself, how should the new leadership set be like? What are the character traits that the Ghanaian people are looking out for? Now, for example, if I can walk to you freely, sit with you freely, discuss my issues with you, offer me practicable solutions to it, then I'm comfortable and trusting the process that if I give you my mandate, you'll be able to account for the stewardship that was given out to you. And that is basically the personality that the good people of Ghana and the NPP people are looking for. So that is why we believe that this whole contest is not a fanfare activity. This should be a reflective moment where aspirants will have to reflect on the process and begin to ask, how then can we be sober to be able to sell our ideas out to Ghanaians? It has nothing to do with the one who can shout out loud, the one who has got certain followers within, or the ability of two camps being able to hold each other in the neck and be fighting in there to get the media mileage that they are looking for. No. If we do that, then we'll continue to hurt the feelings of the party. This is the party that has suffered an electoral defeat that we've never witnessed in our lives before. And therefore, the grassroots are mourning there.
I'm sad.
And the better aspect for us to do is to energize the base, give them that motivation and the edge to believe in themselves again. And that is why Dr. Osei Duchum is a proven reformer when it comes to activities like this. He goes out down there to tell them, my brother, my sister, this is the opportunity for us to get ourselves out of the quagmire that we do see, which has crippled the party plus the country at large. And therefore, it is our duty as citizens and members of this party to give Ghanaians the better ticket that they are all looking out for.
You think that the current leadership of the NPP stands a chance to win the upcoming polls if they put Dr. Duchum as their candidate?
That is why I use the phrase, a proven reformer. So what kind of reform are we looking at? I believe if you have a younger sister or a daughter or whatever, you are looking for a best education for that person. Why are you doing that? You are fighting for a better future for your ward or your daughter or your son on the basis that even on your retirement age, you have somebody who can also take up the mantle and ensure that the sustainability bit is continued. So when you put all these together, then it becomes prominent as part of this whole discussion to look at the alternative or the leadership that can offer us that anchor, that can offer us the ability to believe in ourselves again, that indeed the new patriotic party stands for that socioeconomic development that the country has witnessed all these while. So Dr. Yosei Aduchum stand as the pivot or the anchor for all the activities that all the other aspirants are looking out to. But I would have wished that the other aspirants look up to him, plus their followers, conduct themselves in a dignified manner that rather ginger the base and ensure that Ghanaians are ready to accept that individual that we are all clamoring for. And Dr. Yosei Aduchum, in all his dealings with the rank and file of the party, with the good people of Ghana, you and I, and of which I believe you will attest to, and I believe if you were a delegate, you would vote for Dr. Yosei Aduchum.
Well, thankfully, I'm not a delegate.
Yeah, that's why I say if you were.
Let me bring in.
Yeah, before you bring it
okay.
in. Before you bring it in,
okay.
I want to tell my good party members, this is the time to make that difference of a humble, a unifier, a personality that the good people of Ghana can embrace. And that personality is Dr. Yosei Aduchum from Bosomchi in the Ashanti region of Ghana.
Well, I have clear connection now to Ikea. I'll come back to you.
I'm not even talking. I'm saying that now I've amended what I said. It's a 3-horse race. So that my former boss can tell me.
Ikea, great to have you back. We lost you initially, but then I'm just wondering, how do you separate your candidate from the ills of the previous administration, which led to the defeat of the party? How do you plan to do it as a communicator?
That's a really interesting question. I think if you've observed any election cycle or any political campaign, you usually inherit some assets and then you do inherit some liabilities. It's a system that has always existed. And I always like to look at the resilience of John Mahamed's campaign from 2016 up until now to show that anything is possible. If you look in the US, you see the comeback of President Trump as well. What it tells you is that, especially when you have a candidate that is easy to sell, the work that becomes left for people becomes perception and tweaking a few things that people didn't accept in the first place. But I see my brother Kwesi Kwarteng smiling over there. I also noticed that they seem to want to run a campaign of exclusion or to sort of paint a picture that they were not part of the past 8-year NPP administration. We would not do that. We are running on the tickets of the New Patriotic Party. His Excellency was the former vice president and an integral part of the party. Firstly, we cannot sit here and say that in the last 8 years nothing was done or that the NPP government didn't do anything. Of course, we have some problems. After the whole 8-year fatigue, it becomes very difficult. But I have always maintained, and I'm very proud of that record, that if you look at it sector by sector, we did achieve a lot of things. And it is very clear that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia is the one who has a very clear vision, a very clear and concise vision for the development of this country and the direction that we should take. Was it yesterday or so? I was just going through my Facebook and I saw that in your own account, Joy News had posted a video of when His Excellency was passionately talking about backing the economy with gold somewhere in 2020. No, I think when the domestic gold purchase program was launched, like in 2022 or 2023. Yes. So as a party, if you have a candidate whose candidature brings constant validation of some of the good things you did previously, we wake up one day and we see what is it called? One of the measures that they want to use by Galamsey now, and you look at Dr. Bawumia's plan for Galamsey, and that was the first thing that he was talking about. That was getting the geological survey to actually do a survey and know exactly where the gold is before giving out licenses. So if you look at it sector by sector, he has a proven and a very solid plan for the development of this country, a plan that I believe it should be like a personal homework for all of us to be able to ensure that His Excellency gets an opportunity to actually come and execute the plans that he has for this country. So we are not going to try to exclude ourselves. Indeed, almost everybody on the tickets of everybody trying to contest, minus Engineer Kwabena Paul, was a member of the government. We even have one of the candidates sitting somewhere on radio to boldly say that almost all the appointees from Ashanti region were done in his house. So I don't think any candidate should try to be able to exclude themselves from the past 8 years. Indeed, we are a party. We are all children of the elephants, and something something drastic happened to us last year. So the important thing is for us to come together and find ways to be able to polish that image so that Ghanaians begin to see us the way that they've always seen us, as a very serious party, as a party that's committed to the development of this country, as a party that when it comes into government does not run the country on autopilot. We're a party that come and we do monumental things. Every NPP administration that has existed in this fourth republic comes and does something monumental, usually behind the leadership of a very visionary leader. And it's very clear looking at all the contenders. I mean, they all have their very solid sides, but it's very clear that, we are looking at a situation where Dr. Bawumia stands tall amongst them. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ikea. I'll come back to you just as we wrap up the conversation in the studio to find out how you plan to market the positions on the ballot. I also be coming back to you just to get your thoughts on the general elections and how you plan to ensure that, depending on who wins the primaries, how you plan to rally behind the winner.
Yeah, this time she wasn't condescending. She has been very nice.
We'll come back to you in the studio, but then let me bring in Dr. Ike Tando and Professor H.C. Kanku to join the conversation right now here on the Pulse. I'll start with Dr. Ike Tando because your specialty has to do with PR and marketing. And so looking at the candidates that these political parties have put out, who do you think is best fit to lead the party? And what strategy really should the communicators adopt in selling their candidate?
Thank you very much. And good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. I don't think I would be fair if I should stick my neck out and say that Mr. A or Dr. B is the one the party should choose. They will come and cut my head off if I'm supposed to do that. I want to allow free, fair elections to happen. So I wish them all the best. So I wouldn't be able to answer your first question as to who should win or who is the most marketable person that should be able to lead the NPP. But so having said that, I think all of them do have equal opportunities of winning if they are able to package themselves well, if they are able to get the thrust and the faith of their party. And then remember, after 31st elections, if they manage their politicking very well, they all have to rally around one person. Whether your candidate Kwesi Kwarteng or my brother Opoku Mensah is on your studio in your studio right now, and then Kwesi Kwarteng, all of them will have to come together to support whoever the NPP will give. Whoever will give them the note to. So in terms of that, I wouldn't be able to stick my neck out. But for your second question, what strategies, PR strategies, I think that they should use? I've been listening to the numbers game and all they talk about Asieho and Esieho. Yes, everybody would understand that when you look at the primacy effect, definitely people will always want to remember what they see first. So it has some sort of advantage. And you got, on the other side, you also look at the recency effect. People would also want to recall what they saw last or they heard last. So that works for the first, that is Kennedy, Japan, and the last person, is it my Akonta engineer? Is the fifth, yes. Engineer, who is my Akonta. Also there. So it's work. They will have some sort of slight advantage over them. But when you look at history, when you look at things that has also happened before, even the body politics of Ghana, I realize that the numbers game would also have to play just a little advantage to them. In the immediate past elections, I think Dr. Bawumia was first on the ballot box when it came to the general elections, but he could not win. So I don't think the communicators speaking for them or the candidates themselves, they should be too much excited about where they are. Although I've explained that if you have the privacy effect or the recency effect, it might play a little bit to your advantage. But what I would say is that if I were them, I've heard all of them talking. I've also been monitoring some of their messaging, and they seem to focus on the Ghana who wins power for the party. It seems like they are going to the general election. This is a primary election. So if I were any of them, first of all, I would want to do target messaging. We have about 2,000 people or over 2,000 people that you are going to solicit for their vote. I don't know why they have not
200,000.
200,000, sorry.
Yes.
Over 200,000 people that they are going to solicit their vote and ask them to vote for. But when I do analysis of some of the communication that are coming around, I feel like 31st is the general elections, and I wonder, you have not won the primaries first. Why are you jumping to winning the general elections? Although at the end of the day, the person who win this primaries would have to be marketed to win the general elections. But my advice to them, or my approach as a political strategy, would be, how do I appeal to the 20,000 people? What do the 20,000 people want to hear? What are the things that they are looking for? What attributes would be attractive to the 20,000 people who are going to vote? That is where I want to draw and craft and frame my communication, my messaging to address. How do I make myself attractive? Although I've also been hearing some talks about the party hierarchy trying to favor one person against the other. If I were in there and they're working for any of them, I'll ask myself, okay, let's take it that it is true that a party would want to favor somebody. Okay, what can I also do so that I can also buy into that favor? Instead of being antagonistic and then fighting and then throwing tantrums, I wouldn't want to adopt that approach. I would want to adopt an approach where I would win the love, where I would make my brand attractive, acceptable, liking, by appealing to the emotional needs of the people who are going to vote. Throwing tantrums and trying to defend, spending a lot of time trying to attack each other or defending what other people are saying about your candidate might do a little. Elections and then brands management is all about perception. So if they are saying that your candidate lost the election and then we shouldn't be brought back, as they are saying against Dr. Bawumia, what kind of messaging are you putting across to make sure that you nullify that narrative? If they are saying that Kennedy Japan is harsh, he's brute, as people are saying, he's not a political presidential material, what kind of key messages are you going to? Don't be distracted about some of the things that are not so much necessary. Your focus is to win. Your focus is to do what I call targeted messaging that will appeal to the very people who have the mandate to bring your candidate to lead the party. And then after that, we can look at how we can make ourselves or our campaign more appealing to the general public, because we are going to face either, I don't want to borrow Kwesi Kwarteng's destruction of Julius Debra as somebody who's always blogging. I don't want to go into that. But we are going to look at either it is Julius Debra or Asiedu Ketia or Harun Aiduso as to. So that's how I would have approached it if I were working for any of them. What am I saying? One, focus on targeting messaging, focusing on narratives, messaging that would address what they want to see, what they want to know, the strength that your candidates do have. How appealing will it be to the people who are going to vote for you on 31st of January? What are the strengths? What are the key strengths? You can talk, if I were in my Bawumia's camp, I would want to tell stories, craft messaging around digitalization, the economic thing. That is a strength. If I were Kwesi Kwarteng, also in Canada, Japan, I just want to highlight and then send very persuasive messaging about how results-oriented businessman he is, how he'll be able to give jobs, etc., because he has done it before. So let's look at a very good analysis of each of the candidates, if I were the cons person, and then look at the key attribute, the key strength. How can you draft messaging, create stories, create comms, create arts, create appealing, persuasive messages that would appeal to the people who would want who have the power to go and vote? Let's control the perceptions. Let's build a brand that will be attractive, that the party people would want to vote for. And then before I end, if even the party structures like you, if even Ghanaians like you, that they think that you are marketable, they think that you can win, and your party people do not vote for you, you can never be the presidential candidate. So don't so much focus. I can understand Kwesi Kwarteng, Opoku Mensah, and others when they try to drive the conversation around who will win them power. But my advice to them is that focus on how to win 31st January. Then after that, you can come and let's talk about how best we can also market your candidate to win the general elections.
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time here on The Pulse. Let me wrap up with a clear. We've just been hearing from Dr. Ike Tando say that, the positioning of the candidates on the ballot also helps with visibility What's your thoughts moving forward? How do you plan to ensure that your messaging and your strategy is to win that seat coming 31st of January? Okay, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Oh, sorry, that keeps happening. So I was saying that our messaging has always been clear. Looking at the persona and again the character of our leaders, I believe the messaging has always been clear. His approach to politics has always been to project himself and to tell the people what he can do for them, and not so much of you cannot be flag bearer because you are from here or from here. That kind of conversation and direction has not been the style of His Excellency Dr. Bawumia. The message to the delegates is very simple. It's that he is the most prepared person to lead us into election 2028. He has a clear vision. We have a clear record of what he's capable of, and there's no doubt as to his capabilities. The second one is that he is the most formidable candidate. We've even demonstrated on your set today his formidability, because one of my friends there has mentioned Dr. Bawumia's name about 20 times. That just shows the formidability of the candidate. He's obviously the one to beat in the NPP. The third one is his ability to win the election for them. If you are a delegate of the NPP right now and you are looking for a candidate who can win new power, looking at the support base that we lost during the election, we lost a lot of our core voters who are the middle class, who were disenchanted with us and unhappy about some of the things that happened. How do we bring the trust, gain the trust of that group of voters? It is very clear that it's going to be about character and about who we can sell to that voting class of people. And it's very clear that, as I was saying earlier, time alone is giving His Excellency Dr. Bawumia so much vindication that a lot of the work is being done for us. It is becoming clear to a lot of Ghanaians that some of the things that were said about him were simply not true. It's becoming clear to Ghanaians the hand he had in our recovery as an economy after the tough times that we went through. So why do you throw all of this away to go and take another candidate? That would defy the advantage that we all know that political consistency brings to us. If you look at the political history in our Fourth Republic, it is very clear that political consistency pays. So even taking that one alone would give him an advantage. But even if you want to take that aside, why would you then want to drop the candidate that you've already marketed? Most people know His Excellency Dr. Bawumia. Recently, I saw a video of a teacher asking the students in the class who the vice president was. And to my delight, almost all the students said the kind vice president, Excellency Dr. Bawumia. So I don't see any reason, and indeed I don't think the delegates see any reason to throw away that advantage for a candidate who we haven't yet tested. You know, there are lots of assumptions. I hear my brother Kosi Kwate talk about who the people want, who the people want. There's no empirical data to that. You cannot just sit there and say because you want him, everybody else wants him. You don't have any data to back that. Indeed, when even in our own party, the previous election, it was less than 40% of the party who went in. So by what data or by what evidence would you then extrapolate to say that the whole country wants him? So I think for a party delegate, it's very clear that there's value in consistency, and we should continue to present the formidable candidate that we have till he wins, which is what has always been the case. Again, I always like to use His Excellency John Mahama as an example, because it just goes to demonstrate how political consistency has an effect on the people of Ghana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ikia, for your time here on the post. Let me wrap up with my gentlemen in the studio. I'll start with Kosi Kwate. You may want to respond to some of the concerns about the character of your candidate. How do you plan to market that moving forward?
And today, let me commend the crisis. It's been so nice on the show. And it matters her beauty. So she should keep up.
Okay, I'm sure you've heard the compliment.
And on the data aspect, yes, it's true. There may not be any empirical data to support that Ghanaians want Ken, except what Musa Dankwa has put out there publicly. But at least there is a data to show that Ghanaians do not want Dr. Bawumia. And that data can be drawn from the last election. It was clear, the outcome of the last election was so clear that there is a data as such.
But she feels consistency is key.
Yes, consistency is key, but if you are consistent with the wrong product, what will be the outcome? You can't be consistent with the wrong product. And that is the message of also Honorable Kojo Ponkro. I've seen that they say consistency is key. But my response is that yes, consistency is key, but you shouldn't be consistent with the wrong things. Because other than that, if you keep doing the wrong things, you get the same outcome. And there's a more reason why I indicated that even in the spirit of, nobody is saying Dr. Bawumia has not come to do well. 16 years, all your rich ideas, all your superior ideas, I'm sure by now you would have at least given your best to the party. But there comes a time where you also need to leave the scene and other people come in, revive the party, unite the party, and take the party forward. On the character of Ken, I've always said that Ken is a human being. He has strength, he has shortcomings. We've never said we are selling to Ghanaians a spotless candidate. No. He has his shortcomings. But even those shortcomings are even something that we can galvanize and use as a strength to help this country. People say he's temperamental. I will also look at it in a way that Ken is so overly passionate in getting results done. Ken is able to look into his own party people's face and challenge them. Extremely disciplined. Unlike what is going on in other camps, Abronia has been attacking Ken for the past 7 to 8 months, and nobody has brought him to order. This will never happen under the leadership and watch of Ken. And these are all character traits and the trademarks and the hallmarks we need of our good leader. So let nobody confuse the issues by defining who a presidential material is. The presidential material is one who can deliver. I'm sure Ghanaians will be more interested in who can give them jobs, who can deal with Galamsey, who can deal with own party people, especially his own appointees. Than a leader who come and say, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, don't waste the sense of my team members on me. Meanwhile, you could have looked into their face and tell them that, Mr. Bonye, what you are doing...
If your candidate loses this election, will you rally behind whoever wins?
You see, this is so basic. There are two outcomes in election. It's either you win or you lose. It is our expectation and hope that we win. But if they unlikely happen, what do? We all come together in the spirit of unity and support the party. Just like any of us do not have a different chance or opportunity. If Dr. Bawumia, Dr. Brian Champon, my boss, Dr. Duchum, any of them, whoever wins or whoever loses, will come together and then push the party forward. So our commitment to the party first before even our individual visions and individual aspirations and hopes comes in.
I'll wrap up with you, Yao. Final word.
Yeah, sure. It's quite interesting listening to my two other colleagues from the other camp. But what I want to tell them that we cannot still continue to live in the past. We need to create a new future. We need to create a new order for the party. And to create that new order and to create that future will not happen if we still do have the same kind of behavior from the other two camps. We are looking at how formidable the party will be, and that rests on the strength of the leader. Now, if the leader is able to tame his camp, not to engage in acts that will mar the reputation of the party, then it tells that is the chosen one. At the end of the day, it is the delegates that are going to sell the party to the good people.
Are the delegates on your side?
Exactly.
How many delegates are on your side?
Exactly, the rank and file of the party. That is why I indicated to you that with all the regions that we've visited, they've made it clear to the party. We are tired of all these noises, all these ugly noises in the party.
All the 16 regions?
For now, we've been to Ashanti region, Western North, all the Bono regions, and we are continuing from that end because we know this is an internal contest. And therefore, our engagement should be internal. What is needed to be in the public space is what we come out to brief the public and educate the public as to what is happening. So when you put all that together at the end of the day, the NPP is looking for a presidential material, a presidential candidate, a president who is a proven reformer, a president who is ready to give out and create a new middle class for the good people of Ghana so that we can get out of the poverty line that we still do find ourselves. Now, if you have a comfortable life, go about your duties without thinking of where to get a quality education for my ward, etc., then you are able to have that free mind to innovate, bring out good things to expand your business or whatever activities that you are engaged in. And that is what we, the NPP, should be offering that hope to the good people of Ghana. And that is what the hope that Dr. Elsie Aduchum is offering the party as well as the general public. So I am convinced that that new order, which is being created by Dr. Elsie Aduchum, that even necessitated the party coming out to ensure that we do follow a certain code to be able not to have issues within the media space, to keep deepening the hatred of the party in the hearts of Ghanaians, are done away with. Why was it so? Because Dr. Elsie Aduchum is leading that charge per his conduct, per what is contributing within this whole campaign thing. And the party people see that hope and that chance in the candidature of Dr. Elsie Aduchum. So that is why, if you take my personal relationship with Dr. Elsie Aduchum out of the whole equation, I'm a Ghanaian and I'm a party person. Now, once if I go in out there to campaign my candidate to the electorates within my polling station, and the question comes, I see your candidates as indisciplined. I see your candidate all over, insulting the followers, etc. This is what they are doing. What is the guarantee that if I give you the nod, you wouldn't visit same harm on me? That question can never be asked of Dr. Elsie Aduchum. But what will be known about Dr. Elsie Aduchum is the man who is preaching about prosperity for the party people, for the good people of Ghana, the man who is waging war against poverty, the man who is seeking to create that new middle class and offering that opportunity, the skill and the education set needed to the youth to be able to remove themselves out of poverty permanently.
Okay.
That is what the anchor of our message should be. And that is what we are selling to the delegates and to the good people of Ghana.
Thank you so much.
I am of the firm belief that 31st January, I'll come to your studio here to preach about the victory of Dr. Elsie Aduchum.
And should you lose, will you support whoever wins?
Come again?
Should you lose the polls, will you support?
We are winning.
Candidate?
The aspect of whatever is losing, when we get to the bridge, we will cross it.
Dr. Sando, we're wrapping up the conversation in just 30 minutes. You've listened to all the candidates in the studio. Your final words as we wrap up the conversation.
As I indicated earlier on, but I want them to focus more on targeted, persuasive messaging. Look at the attributes, the strengths, the key highlight, the key achievements of your candidate, and then make sure that find where the 20,000 people are. Where are you going to reach them? How do you reach them? What kind of channels, what kind of medium that you can use to reach them? How can you get influencers to also even speak on your behalf, to speak on your candidate's behalf? And let's see how best they will be able to do. And they should also be mindful of their communication, because some of the things that you are saying today will come back and bite you after 31st of January. So I want to wish them all the best and look forward to hearing a very healthy, competitive narratives around the brands that they are selling.
Doc, thank you so much. That's my lecture there. So you're still watching The Pulse. That's how we wrap up the conversation. Thank you so much, Kwesi Kwarteng in the studio. Amoakoh Mensah. On Zoom, we spoke to Dr. Ikia, and we also spoke to Dr. Ike Tando. Unfortunately, we did not have clear connection to Professor H.S. Kanku, so we couldn't bring you that conversation. But you're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back with more after this weekend. Please stay tuned in. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, to other stories now. The Catholic Health Service Trust has called for a review of the National Health Insurance Scheme tariff, citing the need for quality healthcare delivery. According to the group, the current rates are too low, making it challenging for healthcare facilities to provide quality services. Bishop responsible for health at the Ghana Catholic Bishop Conference, Most Reverend Peter Paul, believes the current tariffs may compromise the healthcare system if not reviewed. Naya Ojima has more in the following report.
The 20th National Conference and Medical Fair of the Catholic Health Service Trust, held in Kumasi, is themed Achieve Universal Health Coverage, CHST's renewed focus on quality. To the Trust, the implementation of the National Health Insurance Scheme has a major setback for services rendered to the public. Presently, issues with tariffs and delayed payments continue to erode the working capital of health facilities under the Trust. Most Reverend Peter Paul Anchia revealed the current tariffs are not reflective of the current economic situation, making it difficult for facilities to stock essential medicines and supplies. Acknowledging the improvements in delayed payments, the Catholic Health Service Trust believes more can be done.
I think in Tamale 2 years ago, I made the appeal. Please look at those low rates and review them in line with the current situation and the prices to help our facilities to reach out to many more people. Over the years, we have suffered from the low tariffs and long delays in provider payments, which have severely eroded the working capital needed for drugs and other consumables.
However, the National Health Insurance Authority has assured of its continued collaboration and commitment to improving services to the health facilities. Ashanti Regional Director of NHIA, Mohammed Muniru Muntaka, delivering a speech on behalf of the CEO, indicated payment time has already improved.
Yes, through collaboration and deliberation, at least now our payments are not like before. From the CEO, we want to assure you that it is not a day wonder. There are a lot of initiatives to even bring it closer to at least 1 month in arrears.
Meanwhile, the Catholic Health Service Trust is calling for effective collaboration with the Ghana Health Service. The Most Reverend further indicates such collaborations are key in achieving universal health coverage. For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, that's how we wrap up the Pulse. My name is Faustina Safa. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Some top stories there. You could see Wontumi released on bail after spending 3 nights in police custody. We'll tell you more about that on Joy News Prime. You should stick and stay with us here on the Joy News channel. It comes up at 7 p.m.